Okay, Jayashree, shuru kare?
Let's start.
Let's start. Whoever wants to come in. So, hi, Vishikant and Shweta. Professor Nilanjan from Department of Philosophy is here today. So, he will be guiding us through this session as well. So, welcome, Professor Nilanjan. So, let's start. Okay, so the format for today is that there are 5 to 6 questions on your admission form. We are going to be looking at those questions and we are going to be giving our perspective on it. And once we have covered all the questions, you can ask your doubts. People who join us after this will probably be told to look at this video again, and we will not be entertaining questions which are related to these questions again after this. So is that okay, Jayashree? That's fine. We will just ask.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's start with the first question, which is your proposed theme and scope of research. So how should you write, how should you be writing your answer in this? I'm going to throw it off to Professor Nilanjan first, and then Jayashree, and then me. Professor Nilanjan, would you like to say anything? The question is your proposed theme and scope of research.
This depends on whether you're applying for MPhil or PhD. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
So this depends on whether you're applying for MPhil or PhD. So if you're applying for MPhil, then I don't think it is mandatory to write what is your proposed theme of research or anything like that. You can say what you're interested in. Like maybe you're interested in meta-ethics or Indian philosophy, Mimamsa or something like that. But for a PhD student, yeah, you will have to write something there. So you could write that I'm interested in Mimamsa theory of action, or in Dinnag's theory of apoha or something like that. I'm interested in the Dinnag and Dharmakirti's conception of inference and what is the difference between them. So something like that.
Okay.
And you have to give some description as well. So one can't simply write, I'm interested in Dinnag or something. Or you have to write what he had written and which book of his are you interested in, and what does he really say in it, and what is it that you wish to investigate in it. But you should write it very shortly. Don't write like 5,000 words. Just write it very shortly.
Okay. Jayashree, would you like to say?
That's enough. That's enough.
Right. Okay. So I will just
Pushpanjali Tiwari. Form, I have one small question. I have not seen this form, but does the form say how many words is there? Is there a word limit to it?
Some questions do. 1-2 questions.
I think 200 words they have mentioned for this.
200 words, man. That's all. It's like 2 paragraphs, basically.
Yeah. So that's what.
It would be nice if they can write 2 paragraphs.
So Vishikant, this is a request. We will look at this more as a panel discussion where 3 of us are talking about the questions, and then when the doubts come, I know you might have a point remark to make on the question asked by Professor Nilanjan. However, we are refraining cross information right now. So this is just a request that we will get back to all the remarks and questions you guys have once we have covered the questions. Okay, so first question that we were covering was your proposed theme and scope of research. This is a question in your admission form. Professor Nilanjan pointed out 3 to 4 points. I'm just going to summarize them, and I also agree with them largely.
First, one thing that you should do is be specific. Okay, so don't write I want to work on Buddhism. That is not specific enough. Or you don't write I want to work on Western philosophy. Western philosophy is बहुत कुछ है ना. Or you don't write I'm interested in Indian philosophy. The Indian philosophy में तो बहुत कुछ है ना. There's the huge amount of stuff is there. So what is it that you're specifically interested in? That is what you should write.
Right. So the first point is you have to be very specific. You'll mention the domain you want to work in. Along with that, you'll mention the debate that you want to be a part of. If there are people you're interested in, then you should mention the people who have been a part of this debate and what will. So basically, a very specific, short answer is expected, and you can mention your area of interest. You can mention broad domain of interest, specific area of research, and then you can mention the debate, and then you can mention what you're going to do in this, a comparative study or whatever it is, right? So that is for the first question. The second question is proposed research questions. I'm going to throw this to Professor Nilanjan again. Professor Nilanjan, how should people deal with that? How should they write the research questions?
It depends on how specific a question they have. Generally, a PhD student does not have a very specific question in mind. And as the years go on, the question tends to get more and more specific, and sometimes the question will change completely. So when you come up with a question, try to come up with 3 or 4 questions which sort of cover the broad area of interest you have. So you might, if you're interested, say, in the Knox theory of universals or whatever, so you try to ask, you can say the proposed question is the theory of the Knox theory of universals, is the statement that the Knox has regarding universals, is it justified or not? There is an important thing about research proposals. You should use words like justify, for instance. That's a very significant word in philosophy. So when you ask a research question, you should ask, is this theory justified or not? So if someone wants to argue for skepticism, so you have to ask the question, is skepticism justified or not? If it is justified, then how are we to approach other issues regarding that flow out of skepticism? So it cannot simply be a question like, I want to investigate whether skepticism is justified. Okay, that's fine. Another question follows from it. If skepticism is justified, how far can we go ahead with skepticism? Even if it is justified, should we really adopt it? So that kind of, there should be 2 or 3 questions that should be posed there, which should be interconnected to each other.
Okay. Okay. So the larger, so the question was that how should you write your proposed research question? Jayashree, please add if no. Right. So I'm also pretty much on board. I think Professor Nilanjan is covering most of the points. I'm going to just repeat it so that so just a remark for people who have joined us a bit late. We're going to be putting this on YouTube, so you can definitely go back and look at what the answers have been for the last few questions. Okay, so the points that Professor Nilanjan pointed out was that you should be using certain words like justified and other words which sort of signal the amount of the gap and the research gap that you're working in. And the questions that you're mentioning should be interrelated to each other. And you can go for 3 to 4 main questions. Do not write numerous questions. So those are 3 points you have to remember. First, use of terminology, which shows that you are focusing on a certain research gap. The second point, you're going to be focusing interrelated questions. And third is, do not go over 3 to 5 or 3 to 4 questions, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next question. We have covered 2 questions till now. The first question was your proposed theme and scope of research. The second question was proposed research question. The third question is, what is the proposed methodology? So I'm going to go back to Professor Nilanjan and request him. Proposed methodology, Professor Nilanjan.
Methodology is a very complicated issue. Different people have different methodologies. So someone who's working in phenomenology, someone who's working in analytic philosophy, they can have different methodologies. So I think here what people mean by saying proposed methodology is, how will you conduct your research? Are you going to do a survey? Are you going to go to some village and dig a field? Or what are you going to do? So obviously philosophers can't go to a field and start digging there. They could do surveys. If you're doing experimental philosophy, for instance, you can do, obviously you do surveys in that. So that's what they're really asking. So what your methodology should be, that you will be looking probably at the latest publications that are there in the field. And your main methodology should really be, if you're a very serious researcher, it should really be looking at all the journal articles that have been published and putting together all the views that are similar to each other in different categories, and then trying to figure out what is the strength of each of these views. So that's a kind of methodology you will have. The word methodology is used in different senses by different people. But here I think what Delhi University means is, what are you going to do in your research? How will you carry it out? So are you going to go to the field? Are you going to sit at home and do something? Your idea should be that I will be checking the latest publications in the best journals that are. So if you're working on Indian philosophy, you have to look at Journal of Indian Philosophy, right? Otherwise, how will you do any research? So you will have to look at the original sources, the original books, let us say in Sanskrit or Pali. And then you have to look at the latest publications on these books in Journal of Indian Philosophy or Journal of Indian Council of Philosophical Research. So that is how it will go. So in case you are working on some specific book, like some book by Dharmakirti, or you are working, let us say, on Frege's Foundations of Arithmetic. So firstly, you are looking at an original source. Then you are looking at the publications on those original sources in recent journals. So that's like so step 1, you look at original sources. Step 2, you look at the best publications that are there in the best journals of the world.
Right. Okay.
That's like a starting methodology. You can do many other things also. I mean, you can do experimental philosophy, this, that, all kinds of things can be done. But the starting methodology is, what is your text and what are the key articles that are being published in current periodicals or journals.
Okay. So, okay. So, Jayashree, would you like to add something?
That's enough. That's
No?
enough.
Okay, so I'm going to be sharing on the chat. I'm sharing two links which people can go through. One of our other colleagues, Bhavna, had shared this question, so I'm just sharing some of them, and you can just go through these in case you're interested and you would like to know more about research methodologies. These are just general for humanities, and there are other. I'm also attaching one file which you all can look at in case you're interested. This file is also by, I think I should just cite the person who has written this. Okay, this was a handout by Harvard Extension School on Research Methodologies in Humanities. Before we sort of cover this, let's remember there's a difference between methods and methodology. Methods are very specific tools you're going to be using, while method is like, it's like saying I'm going to use a blackboard for teaching, or I'm going to use the whiteboard on the laptop for using. Methodology is going to be a complete framework you're going to be mentioning on the rationale, on how you're going to do, like Professor Nilanjan was mentioning, it's going to be a very specific step-by-step kind of thing that you're going to do with your research. However, given that this is a qualitative research, you can just find whatever, so the links that we have shared and Professor Nilanjan's advice, you can look at what comes closest to how you're going to do your research in this particular topic, right? So, okay, so I think that will close it for this question. And the next question is, what are the primary sources of field work? So, Professor Nilanjan, would you like to say something
It
about
depends on whether you are doing field work. So in philosophy, mostly people don't do field work. So if unless you are doing experimental philosophy, so many universities in the world have a lot of interest in experimental philosophy. So they do work in epistemology, metaphysics, all kinds of very exciting work is done in experimental philosophy. If you're doing that, then you have to make surveys and you have to give it to hundreds of students. So that might be a primary way of going about things. But otherwise, the primary method of research in philosophy is you look at the best articles published in journals, and then try to figure out what are the number of different views and what are the weights of each view.
Okay. So first question you have to ask yourself is, are you doing field work? And the second question, in case you're doing field work, then what are the philosophical aspects of this field work which are going to be relevant for your work? So of course it cannot be everything. So Jayashree, would you like to add, would you like to say something? Mention,
No, I think
we also
because
had,
field work, I don't think philosophy being a second order study, I don't think many of these people will be interested in doing something which is
Yeah,
related to
right now
field.
Delhi University does not, it has still not started with the experimental philosophy thing. So when we
Okay.
start that, then we can have all the survey things.
right, yeah, we can do that. So there, we did have one colleague who was mentioning, Bhavna was mentioning that she's doing some work on fashion-based ethics of waste. So there she was going to go into certain, she was going to go to some museum, she was going to talk to some NGOs, and so, but of course you have to look at the philosophical implication of the fieldwork, and when you are mentioning the answer, you have to mention how this is going to fit in with the philosophy that you're doing, not the actual empirical. The empirical evidence has to be subservient to your philosophical research that is involved there.
So we need to remember that the form is meant for everybody. So MSc student and BSc and whatever. So it's not necessary that all the questions there actually relate to philosophy.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is an important point as well. And you can also, in case you're in ethics and you're in something like feminism and you're interested in asking, going to certain people who are involved, interviews, then that is something that you would probably be looking at as field work. So just think about what you're going to do in your research in case you feel that it is going to be involving any field work at all, or else it can evolve while once you join the coursework. Of course, this is not the final research field work or methodology you're choosing. Right. And so let's move on to the next question. The next question is, what are the major writings in the field for which you're applying? This before going to Professor Nilanjan, I would like to point out a thing that I had already mentioned. You are going to, it is very important to look at the contemporary writings. Let's look at 2010 onwards. You have to look at in the best high-ranking journals. I'm going to share a link that Professor Nilanjan had shared with me earlier, where you can look at the popular journals. And in those popular journals, you look for the latest articles on your research, and then you look at that as and the classical writings are of course there. So yeah, just look at the main high ranking, high quality journals. You're going to share the link. Professor Nilanjan, would you like to say anything on major writings in the field for which you're applying?
They should be pretty easy for most people to answer actually, because in India most people go through what is called text-based philosophy education. So their interest basically come from there. So if somebody is interested, let us say, in logical positivism, so they will write Ayer's logic, language, truth, and logic. Or if somebody is interested in philosophy of mathematics, then they would say that I'm interested in foundations of arithmetic and what follows from it. So this question should be pretty easy to answer. So one can write it like one can say that these are the 5 books that are the major publications in this field. Actually, the lesser the number of books, the better it is.
Right. Okay.
And the greater the number of journal articles, the better.
Right. Jayashree, would you like to add something?
No.
Okay. So I'm sharing the film. I'm sure you guys are already aware of it. I could not get the, on this, basically you'll go and look for popular journals, and it's there on the chat. You look for the latest writings which are there. So there are 2 parts to this. I'm just going to add to what Professor Nilanjan has already said. There are going to be classical readings, which are basically going to be, if you're doing a certain topic, it is going to be the writings by the pioneers of your field. And after that, you're going to have the contemporary debate in which you're placing yourself, and there are going to be writings in that contemporary debate, which also you have to include in your writings, which are important in your research field. So that is 2 parts, and please focus more on journal articles, which are there in Phil paper. You can find it in Phil papers, JSTOR, high-ranking journals, than on books, which are going to be more, which are going to be more difficult to handle at this time. And journals are basically the way in which debates occur in academic philosophy. So that is one important point. Okay, let's move to the next point, which is, are you making any original contribution to the field of proposed research with your, I guess, questions? And so is there anything that you'd like to say, Professor Nilanjan?
This was very difficult to answer right at the beginning of research. But yeah, I mean, I guess everyone wants to make some original contributions. So yeah, you should write, I would like to make one, but I have to do the research to make one.
Yeah, that is true. And I think this applies more also to the science ones, where you can at least beforehand say that I'm going to look at this gap and I'm going to find empirical evidence.
It's very difficult to make any original contribution.
Yeah, that's also true. What do you think, Jayashree?
I think, yeah, for MPhil student, this question is not valid also. Those people who have already worked in their MPhil and then coming to PhD, they can write, yeah, this is what I have contributed. If they are taking it as a continuation, okay, this is what I have contributed and this is what I am planning to do. So yeah, this can be one way to, answer it all.
Right. So the consensus seems to be that the question might not apply fully right now to you, given that you're not done the research yet where you can figure out what original contribution you're going to make. However, you can, if you are thinking out loud and if you come up with something, please be free to mention it in the admission form, and right. All the questions that are being asked will be taken after we finish all the questions. We just have 2 more questions to go, and after that we'll pick up. And right, let's start with the last question, which is your past research experience. What should people mention in past research experience? Professor Nilanjan, can you please tell us what they can mention?
They have past research experience. So if somebody is applying for PhD and they have an MPhil degree, they should mention they have done an MPhil and in which area they have done it. And if somebody is applying straight to MPhil from MA, then they should mention if they have done an essay course in which they would have done some research. Otherwise, if you don't have past research experience, that's all right. It is not a crime.
Okay. Jayashree, would you like to mention something? Someone had mentioned yesterday that, they did a poster that you can mention if you went for any conference and you presented something, you can mention that. If you did, even though these one could think that this is not directly research, but
have an extra column where they can mention all these things. This doesn't come into a research thing, right?
Exactly.
Generalized thing. So poster, I don't think we consider as research.
Poster would poster be included?
No. Other details.
Right. So it would only be papers and the essay course or the past research, right? Okay. So those are the 3 things: papers, publications, if you have done an essay course, in case you have done an MPhil. These are the three things you can largely mention in the past research experience. Okay, that's great. We have covered all the questions. Just to give an idea to people who have joined us late, we have covered 5 questions which are mentioned in the admission process. Like in your form, the first question was your proposed theme and scope of research. The second question was proposed research questions. Third was proposed methodology. Fourth was primary source of fieldwork. The fifth was major writings in the field for which you're applying, and if you're making any original contribution to the proposed research. And the last question was past research experience. Now we are going to be throwing this open to questions from people, and we are going to be hoping to start alphabetically. But before that, I would request, I'm just going to make this remark. I don't know who 97969 is. Tell me word limit is a bit informal for a very formal meeting. So we generally try to intimate each other in a conversation by saying, could you please tell me the word limit? So, this is just something that we all, I guess, can remember that, these are things that are going to matter when you're sitting in the interview. This is just a very, like at least we are people who are research scholars. So this is just a friendly advice. So please take it that way. I hope that, you're going to look at it like that. Okay, so we have 9769. Can you please mention your name so that I can just put you on the alphabetical order? So just please mention your name. And right now we have Ishikant, Shweta Das, Varsha, Saloni, and Pushpankita Tiwari. So we are going to start with Pushpankita Tiwari. That is the alphabetical order right now. And okay. Pushpankita, I'm going to unmute you, and if in case you have any question, you can please share. Okay, Pushpankita, can you also try to unmute yourself? Because I did unmute you. I'm not sure if you have muted. Yeah, right. Great. Okay. Yeah, Pushpankita, you can unmute yourself. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Hi,
please go ahead.
Pushpankita. We can hear you.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Actually, my question is, what would be the questions of interviewers when we present our research proposal, like on the broader aspect? I'm not pointing out a particular questions, but what were the in broader sense, what would be the questions of interviewer when we are present our research proposal?
Okay, could I just point out that interview and entrance exam, Pushpankita, I'm just like sort of, this will, we are right now covering only the, Jayashree, is that okay to say that we are just covering right now the admission form? We
Yes.
might have something for the interview later. We might have one more doubt clarification for the entrance exam, one more for the interview. It's great that you want to be prepared early. However, we request that, you maybe, is it okay if we ask you to, Pushpankita, wait a bit and
Okay, all right.
and if you have anything related to the admission form, then please be free to mention that. So,
Okay.
is there anything you would like to know?
I think
One sentence, I'll just reply her, nothing beyond your proposal. Okay, so don't worry. Just prepare your proposal. They will not ask you anything beyond your proposal. Okay, so all the best.
all right.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, Pushpankita, I'm muting you right now, and I'm going to. Okay, let's start with. I think that would be Era 2. Can you? There is one more person, Era 2. Can you please send your name to us so that we can put you on the list? We are going to go to Saloni right now. Saloni, I'm going to unmute you. I request you to also unmute yourself. Right. Hi, Saloni.
Hi. So I wanted to ask what things we should keep in mind before, in fact, applying for MPhil or PhD. I mean, I think we can apply to both at the same time. Yet, what is the certain things that we need to be like very clear about, apart from the things that are asked in the form itself?
Right. Jayashree, would you like to take
I
that?
think our first video will answer this question. Don't you think, Sahana? We have already discussed about this in detail.
Okay, so I'm just going to share that with you guys so that I'm just going to share our YouTube channels. We just put two videos right now, so I'm just going to share that with you guys, and please be free to look at it. And in case you have any doubts, you can still message us and mail us, ping us on mail. Okay, I'm just sharing it right now on the chat to everyone. Okay, so this is the link of the first doubt clarification session we had. Okay, is there any other questions, Saloni, that you would like to ask? Okay, wait, I think, right, Saloni, you are muted, so yeah. Is that it? Saloni, would you like to ask anything else?
No, that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was just told that 9769 is Abhi Pandey, so A is definitely before all the other alphabets, so we're going to take him right now. Right, Abhi, I'm unmuting you. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Right. Hi, Abhi.
Hello.
Hi, Abhi. I hope you didn't.
Hi.
I hope you took our advice friendly way and you did not consider. I hope that's okay. I was just But
Yeah, ma'am. I hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Please go ahead.
Hello. I am asking, ma'am, that how the word limit was. मतलब synopsis और proposal का word limit कितना कर सकते हैं?
निलंजन सर से एक बार पूछ. निलंजन सर, आपको क्या लग रहा है कि वर्ड लिमिट सिनॉप्सिस और मेथोडोलॉजी का कितना होना चाहिए?
I think the Delhi University word limit is like 2000 words or something.
पूरे रिसर्च प्रपोजल के लिए?
That is how it used to be.
2000 word में.
हाँ, I think Delhi University का वही था कि 2000 word का होना चाहिए वो.
पूरा रिसर्च प्रपोजल.
It is 2000 to 3000, sir, as far as I remember from my time. So
yeah, I think it keeps changing. वो कभी-कभी 1500 कर देते हैं, कभी 2000. But I think it is safe to write 2000.
Yes.
Sir, form fill. Hello, sir. Listen.
हाँ, बोलो.
फॉर्म फिलअप करते वक्त कितना वर्ड कर सकते हैं?
आपके फॉर्म में तो सिनॉप्सिस का पार्ट दिया है क्या आपके फॉर्म में एडमिशन? क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है मेथोडोलॉजी है. हमें जितना पता है अभी हमें ये पता है कि 5-6 क्वेश्चन है जो हमने अभी कवर किए थे. उसके सिवाय मेथोडोलॉजी में आपको 200-300 वर्ड के ऊपर लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. जो भी आपका मेथोडोलॉजी है उसके लिए थोड़े रिसोर्सेज हमने शेयर किए हैं चैट पे. सिनॉप्सिस आपके लिए कहाँ पूछा गया? आप क्या मेंशन कर सकते हैं? फॉर्म में पूछ रहे हैं क्या सिनॉप्सिस?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Jayashree,
within 5 word.
Oh,
Within 500 words.
Exactly कुछ लिखा हुआ है फॉर्म में? कुछ लिखा हुआ है क्या?
हाँ, फिलअप करने के लिए शायद है 500 वर्ड.
हाँ, तो ठीक है, आप उसको स्टिक कीजिए.
500 पे स्टिक करिए.
Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
कई बार बदलता रहता है दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में. Sometimes they say more, sometimes they say less.
हाँ, तो 500 लिखा हुआ है तो 500 के ऊपर मत लिखिए, क्योंकि देखिए आपको ये है ना, मतलब प्रोफेसर निलंजन
मैम तो डिफर इंटरव्यू के लिए वहाँ डिफर होगा कि सेम सिनॉप्सिस और मेथोडोलॉजी लेके जानी होगी फॉर्म में जो फिलअप हम करेंगे?
इंटरव्यू में अगर आप एमफिल के लिए जा रहे हैं तो आपको ले जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है प्रपोजल. अगर आप पीएचडी के लिए जा रहे हैं तो आप रिफॉर्मुलेट कर सकते हैं अपने पूरे प्रपोजल को, ठीक है. मगर इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप पूरा का पूरा प्रपोजल चेंज कर लेंगे. आप उसको इम्प्रोवाइज करके ले जा सकते हैं.
है ना. और मैं यहाँ आपके पास अभी आई एम शेयरिंग ऑन चैट विद एवरीवन. में हमारे पास ये क्वेश्चन कल भी आया था, तो हम लोगों की रिसर्च प्रपोजल टेम्पलेट कैसे होता है, तो उसके लिए मैं शेयर कर रही हूँ 4 सोर्सेज. आप वो सब देख सकते हैं. उसमें आपको इनफ रिसोर्सेज मिल जाएंगी. I think I've shared it with everyone. Yes. Shweta Das has also pointed out that it's 500 words. So let's go with the idea कि synopsis 500 word को आना चाहिए. Specifically आप लिख लीजिए, है ना. अभी और कोई question है या is this?
No, ma'am.
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Next question is going to be, I think it's going to be Varsha and then Vishi. Ira, I have asked Ira also. Ira, I don't know how to also pronounce it. And please let us know your name, right? On the private chat, please. Okay, so I'm unmuting you right now, Varsha. Please unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Varsha, you have to unmute yourself. I'm sending a message, no? Just give me a
Or
second.
maybe we go ahead with the other person and
Yeah.
then we come back to her.
Right. So, Varsha, we're going to
I
go to
think we missed
Vishikant.
Shweta. We missed
Oh, wait.
Shweta.
Yeah, we missed Shweta. That's true. Okay. Okay. Varsha Raut said that she's a bit unwell and she does not have questions. So please, Varsha, please be free to mention the questions. I'm going to go to Shweta. I'm really sorry I jumped over you, Shweta. I'm just going to unmute you right now. Can you please unmute yourself, Shweta? Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Hi. Please ask us your question.
Thank you for organizing this session.
Yeah, that's fine. Please ask.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question relating to the entrance examination, but of course you said that you'll be organizing another session. So I don't have any other question. You made it clear. Thank you.
Okay. We'll have another one before the entrance exam where we will deal with, the general questions. Is it objective, is it subjective, and those kind of questions of what we've been getting. Please be free to mail all your doubts to ASC mail so that we can, collect all of them and deal with them together. So we'll be doing that next time. Okay, Shweta, is it okay if I mute you right now?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Thank you. Varsha is going to ask us 3 questions. Please be free to mention it, Varsha. I'm going to go to Vishikant and I'm going to wait for your messages till then. Vishikant, I'm going to unmute you. Please be free to unmute. Right, great. Hi, Vishi. Please tell us your questions.
Already submitted the form.
Right.
As Dr. Bhomik.
Can you be a little louder?
Yeah, can't hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I had already submitted the MPhil application form, admission form, and I paid the fees. But as Dr. Bhomik said, if you are applying only for MPhil, you don't really, the first question, that is the proposed theme and scope of research, need only be about your interests, not mandatorily about the specific topics and exact thing that you're going to deal with. So while filling up the form, in answering the first question, I had 2 topics of interest which are in very diverse fields. So I only mentioned one of them because I didn't know how to mention 2 of them in the same application. So even though I have submitted the admission form with a particular topic in my application, but there is another topic that is completely different from what I have filled up in form. So how do I deal with that? Or is it okay when I'm pursuing MPhil and I'm asked to submit a research proposal, it might be on either of those topics?
Jayashree, would you like to, Professor Nilanjan, would you like to say anything?
Oh, in MPhil, I mean, it won't matter. You will have to go through MPhil courses and you have something like a year to decide what you want to work on. So even if your interests change and all that, that's not going to be very, it won't really affect you in any way. So at the end of the year, by next April, let us say, you should have a decision about what you wish to work on. So, and who you wish to work with. So once that is done, then it is fine. It need not be the same research area that you put in the MPhil form.
Okay. Jayashree, would you like to?
I think Sir has covered majorly, but just one point which I think is very important here is, it's just that whatever you have written right now, Shikant, you should be able to defend it out there. Okay, after that you get enough of time to, rework on your proposal, and maybe in the due course while you're doing your coursework, something else might interest you. So then it's obvious that you'll go ahead with that, okay, if your research interest changes. So it's okay. I think it's just that you should be prepared with whatever you have written right now. That's it.
Okay.
Ma'am, just one more question.
Yeah.
It is, even though it is related to admission form, the submission of admission form, that it asked for my UGC net qualifications, and I filled them in. And on page 54 of the bulletin for information regarding the MPhil PhD programs, in the section C, eligibility criteria, point number 4 or 5, I guess, it says that if you have qualified UGC net, you may directly appear for interview. But while filling up the admission form, when I filled in my certificate details by ticking the UGC net clearance option, it still asked for my center preferences. So what is going to actually happen. I did consult a faculty about this, and they mentioned ki, yeah, you can give exams, you can, and you may appear directly for the interview, but I still just want to make it clear in my head a bit.
What do you think, Jayashree? What's the?
I think every year it changes. So I remember the year I gave my examinations. Even I filled my details of net qualified. I got a admit card for my entrance also. But last year it happened so that those people who had filled the form with net qualified, they were not issued the admit card itself. So it's totally university's discretion
Yeah.
probably.
So you'll just have to wait, Vishikant, to see if you get the admit card again, or if you don't. And why take any risk? You might as well give the entrance exam if you get the admit card. Given the like Jayashree pointed out. Is there any other question, Vishikant, you'd like to ask?
Just one more question.
Yeah.
Out of the 6 or 7 questions that were asked in the admission form, I did not fill some of them because they were, first of all, they were not marked red as in mandatory, and I, as Dr. Bhaumik mentioned, there were doubts regarding what the phrase proposed methodology means when it comes to writing an MPhil paper for philosophy, because I didn't know the concept of experimental philosophy. So I didn't know that there were options for survey and research and all of that, like in the mainstream. So I did not fill that up. Is it okay? Is it going to create any problem or anything?
No, it won't have any problems.
It's all right. It's all right. You're in safe zone. Thank you, Vishi. Is that enough? Is that done? Do you have any other questions?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We have 3 questions from Varsha, so I'm just going to take that up. Professor Nilanjan has already answered one of the questions. Is it compulsory to pursue MPhil and then go for PhD? Like Professor Nilanjan has pointed out, it is not compulsory. However, there are some pros to doing MPhil which have been mentioned in our first video, and you can just look at the video. It's 37 minutes long, but we are going to be putting those markers on it on where you can go for finding what question, hopefully over the week. But you can look at it. It covers a lot of the questions that we have covered today and other questions as well. Second, how can one prepare for entrance will be taken up in the next doubt clarification session before the entrance exam. What is the procedure one can use to write the synopsis and research methodology?
Sussex वाला बहुत अच्छा है.
है ना वो there are some templates which are given above. Please, like Professor Nilanjan pointed out, maybe he felt that the Sussex one, the third one, was helpful. You can look at it. Guys, just as a general, I'm just sharing an advice as a researcher, a suggestion. Go on Google, search research methodology, philosophy, template, research methodology, how to write, and you're just going to get a lot of information. I wanted to apologize to Abhi Pandey. I think that I realize that maybe this is also a language thing. Also for others, we are sorry that we are currently only doing this in English. It is quite Eurocentric of us, but we are going to try to get few more people. We're going to try to get Prashant Verma, who knows Hindi well. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm apologizing to Abhi Pandey about being probably a bit hasty.
But you can write to us in Hindi.
Please be free to. And you should, and please be open to tell. I will prefer to talk in Hindi. I'll prefer to talk in Kannada. I would, whatever language you're preferable. It's your right, and it's up to us to make the effort to bring a translator in and understand. You have the right to speak in whatever language you want. We're going to try our best to understand, right? So, anyway, that's it for right now. Professor Nilanjan, is there anything you would like to say? Or we can,
There's this question she has, I think Varsha has, about how should one prepare for the entrance.
Yes.
I guess the way you prepare is that you look at the compulsory section of the MA philosophy courses. And so you kind of should know stuff about that, because that's what's going to come in the exam. So the exam is a multiple choice objective exam, as it is always is for the last few years. So you should be prepared with the compulsory part of the MA philosophy exams. The MA philosophy syllabus.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So that is that. And before you guys leave, I'm sure you all guys have already gotten the ASC website. We have already uploaded a short module on how to choose a research topic, which is of course for a year-long program, but you can definitely see if you can pick up any points and suggestions for yourself. And I'm just going to be sharing that here as well. And please feel free to go through the website and Please feel free to mail us in case you have any doubt. And thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be uploading this on YouTube. Whoever has missed out on the beginning initial questions can go and check on it. Thank you so much, Professor Nilanjan and Jayashree, for joining us. Thank you guys, all of you.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye. Oh wait, we have some question by Shweta, which I guess. Oh, sir, Professor Nilanjan, she just asked that is it true that we'll have some questions from research methodology or only from our subject, that is philosophy?
No, only from the subject, not from research methodology.
You won't have anything. Yeah, we have a course. Research coursework is like a 6-month course we have. So yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, Shweta, is that fine? Okay. Thank you so much, guys. See you later. Hope you guys have a great time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.